Hello, so today I'm setting up Costa's guitar. Costa, if you're watching this is your guitar I'm setting up. So I'm gonna do full string change, full setup, regular maintenance stuff, and yeah. This is just a video tutorial for how you would do this, for example, if I'm busy, or if you are not Costa and you're someone that's interested in guitar setup and maintenance. This is a great video, because here I'll be operating on a Floyd Rose, the infamous bridge, which is the most fun to set up. So I'll start by loosening everything on the guitar, taking out all the screws, all the whatevers that I would need to take out to operate on the instrument. So first what you want to do is unlock your nut, obviously, because you'll be loosening all your strings before you cut them off. Fun fact about strings is they are recyclable, but most garbage disposals, recycling disposals, will not take them. But if you take them to like a long McQuaid, they typically have a bin specifically for strings, and just hold them up, put them in a bag or something, maybe no bag, whatever they accept. They'll usually just tell you how they want them. And yeah, Long McQuaid recycles strings. Thank you, Long McQuaid. But yeah, usually just gotta throw them in the garbage. I know in my cottage, the recycling was not happy about having strings, which is weird, but can't really say no to them because they just won't take your stuff. Also, for people playing with active pickups, just don't throw your batteries in the garbage. Like, have like a special disposal for them. Like, all the garbage dumps, they have separate sections for their batteries and dangerous toxic electronics. They might start fires. They might leak dangerous chemicals everywhere. Like, just be careful with stuff you throw out. So we take our Allen key. Always also use the long side of the Allen key so you don't strip anything. There it is. Especially when tightening. Like, you really don't want to break something by just being too strong. I mean, if you've had enough hours doing this, you'll also be fine using either side, honestly. It's just, you don't want to learn the hard way what the strength limit of a piece of wood or metal is. You kind of just really want to play it safe, yeah, but some cleaning's always good. It's never illegal to clean an instrument. A lot of people, they use lighter fluid to clean the fretboards. I commend them for enjoying it, but I've just never bothered using lighter fluid. I feel like with lemon oil and just some gentle scrubbing, you can just get the same stains out. Yeah, this is, by the way, a great time to get the dust out of like every little corner of your guitar and just tiny any pots that need it. Yeah, but if you want your guitar to still look brand new after you've owned it for like 10, 20 years, just do one of these every time you put new strings on it. Speaking of new strings, it really isn't illegal to change them like more than once a year. Like, I usually like every like 6 months, let's call it, because I have a lot of guitars, so obviously I won't be playing each individual one as much. But like, some people, they just will never change their strings, and you can feel it, you can hear it. They'll tell you it gets them the tone they like. And after you hear that, you can either be what I would consider the good friend and tell them, "Hey pal, it won't hurt. It really won't hurt to change your strings," or you can just let them live their reality and live with dirty strings. I'm always the friend that tells them like, "Hey, you should change your strings," and usually I'll just do them. If you don't do it for them, they won't do it themselves. That's usually the case. See with people. And that's like when I get we can just straight up do it for them. Like, I don't know, I enjoy doing things for people, but you get to this weird border where you start doing something professionally, then you gotta like really think about it. Like, do I do this for free or do I charge them? Like, they're my friend. And it overlaps in a lot of like fields. I mean, like in production, like, oh, here's an artist, I'm doing a freaking record for them. It's not like the first time I'm working with them. Do I start charging them? Yes, absolutely. But like, yeah, there's just some weird spots. Like setups, I'm getting to the points where like, I inform people I do this professionally. If you want a setup done and I don't like frequently talk to you, it's gonna cost you $1 or $2. But I feel like if it's my bandmate, like, yeah, I enjoy doing these things. So what I'm doing now is I'm rubbing the lemon oil into the fretboard to make sure it absorbs it. And at the same time, I'm wiping off all the excess. This just conditions the fretboard, and moisturizes it, gives it the life, like a young, youthful tree again. And like, 1 or 2 string changes could use some touch-up, but like, most of the time, frets are just better off not being touched until you're doing like major work for them, because like, it starts impacting your intonation when it's like a bit more worn down. Like, if your point is down like 1/4 of a millimeter, like, you can live with that for a long time, especially considering how much the humidity will change, like how much your intonation will change, how your playing will change. Like, you always hit the note difference every time you hit it. But the second it gets to the point where it's like multiple frets being messed up, then you're like, oh, yeah, now this is impacting my playing and intonation. And it's a lot severe than just like, actually, I'll give this a bit longer. I feel like I just need to rub in some more oil into it, because it looked kind of rough before I started rubbing the oil on it. I feel like at this point, like in 2 string changes, it won't need grounding or anything, just like some buffing would help it. Just every time I see like the top of a fret like more clearly than you expect it to be, I think that it's about time to give it a grounding. This one's fine, honestly. That's good. Now let's see. No, 4 springs is okay. I feel like just leave it at 4 springs. Don't need 3 for this one. Make sure to loosen these every time you have the chance, because these fighting tuners, you tighten them up a lot quicker than you would expect. Especially if you want to like go drop D or something. Ah, this one's not moving. That's funky. Yeah, that's good. I'll give the pickups a slight neater cleaning because seems to be a lot of dust I've decided to collect. Yeah, that's a good one. And here's the thing you do with these strings when you put them on a Floyd rose. So if you're setting up a guitar that doesn't have a Floyd rose, do not do this. But what you're going to do is you're going to cut the ball end. So this is how you do it. You go right up to where the taper gets thicker and just flip it. And then what you're going to do with that end is insert it into your bridge saddle. This one might need to get loosened a bit. Yeah, all these, since we're changing string gauges, all these are going to need loosening. I'm also predicting that before I get to the string change, we're going to want to move our saddles back a bit. But yeah, so what you do is you insert it, then you clinch it down to create the break angle, it's called, and then you gently tighten it. So this is the tough part. You have to be gentle with it to not break the string and not break the metal components, but also you gotta be like, you know, gotta get it tight enough to not slip out. Yeah, gotta be gentle. Now let's actually do our intonation pots first. So I feel like I am gonna forget about them the more I keep talking. Which isn't the best thing, but this naturally happens. So yeah, all of these keys that I have in this box I've just collected from guitars I own, and then obviously get lost, but yeah, this is issued by Gibson. It is a something quarter inch, I believe, Allen key. And what we're gonna do is go to these. Oh, wrong key, weird, this one fit my other foot. Anyways, but what we're doing is we are loosening the intonation pots so that we can take them out and move them back one peg. I believe this will be about one peg of a movement. So you take it, you unscrew it, move your intonation pot back, and move your screw back one hole. So on a licensed Floyd, an official one rather, there will be 3 holes, but this Ibanez one has 2, which is okay. It's not a crime. Unless it's a copyright crime, obviously. But what we're doing is we're moving this back because we're going to D-standard tuning. So I'm just guessing wildly that we're going to need to move it back without that much for the intonation. And then we just do it to the rest of them. Obviously, since we have an Eon here, I'm going to have to loosen the string first before I do it, because otherwise this saddle's going to freaking launch. Demonstrate with the next string. I'll repeat the exact same process once again. So here's your 42 gauge. This is our A string. Now you unwind it, and then you find the little groove here, and you cut right to it. So when the taper gets thicker, that's where you cut. Now we're going to take this end and put it into our bridge saddle. So make sure your bridge saddle is loose enough to fit your whole string, and now you fit it, and then you bend it. Now you're going to tighten your bridge saddle. Yep. Remember, not too tight, not too loose, but, you know, let yourself judge how tight or loose you do it. Now here's the next step. So right hand, let's call it the neck hand. And left hand, let's call it the tuner hand. So the tuner hand puts the string through the tuner. Now our neck hand is going to keep holding on. Now grab your pinky of your neck hand, put it out, and with your tuner hand, keep pulling the string until you've created this little triangle. So now that your pinky's on the 3rd fret and raised and holding the string, that's about as much slack as you'll be giving yourself. So I usually slightly pull back to give us some room for error. And what you do now is you bend the string above a little tag end. And then you get 1 wrap above the tag end. What you do is you use your tuner to pull it more, and now with your neck hand you push your string down so that it creates tension and wraps tightly, and your second wrap now goes under the tag end. So now you have like a locking system basically, which is pretty cool, if you ask me at least. Now you just snip. Now be careful with snipping, leave some room. Now that we're on a new frame, I will do another pass of how you put the string on. So we have a wrap above the tag end and a wrap below the tag end. The tag end is this end, the long one that you snip off. So now with our D string, I will once again demonstrate how you would do this. So now you take your D string, and you unwrap it. Careful, don't make any bends in it. Now once again, you're going to look at your string and see that the taper gets wider. Take this and cut right up to where the taper gets wider. Just like that. Perfect, clean cut. Take your string, and as I said before, do the pinky trick. And now when you're pulling it through, go through the hole, pull it, until the angle gets tight. Now you take this, fold it over. Fold it right over. And now, once again, you have a wrap above and below your tag. So then what you do is you take the tag end, and you snip. Not too short. Yeah, so the same process. Go right up to where it gets wider. Snip. Perfect. Go through the bridge. So here's what I did different with this one. Instead of the bottom wind being wound, instead I just folded it because I had a bit more room with this one. So obviously that's another option. It just, you can't really do that with every string because some of them are obviously a lot denser than others, which is how the string tapers work, the gauges. So now we have our B string up next. Pretty rinse and repeat at this stage. So this is the simple part of the setup. So now the fun stuff will come after we get our strings on, because we need to change everything about it. Since one, we're changing gauges, and two, we're changing tunings. So everything on the guitar is going to be different. So what you're going to want to do after we get our last string on is you're going to want to tune up to where you want to play, and you're going to be adjusting your neck. After the neck, it's going to be the action. After the action, it's going to be intonation. So I'm going to be using a clip-on tuner for just tuning up to D standard, but for intonation, you always want to use a tuner that you can plug into. It can be a plug-in, it can be a Boss tuner, it can even be a stupid Behringer tuner. Just make sure it's getting the right signal when you do intonation. So what I'm doing right now is I'm tuning up to D standard. So this is the scary part, really. Because some strings, they're not always going to sit right on your guitar, and those are the ones that just pop out. And it's always better to find it out early, because like typically in this stage, like if one of the strings is bad, it'll just pop right out at you. And with those, you just replace them right away, usually. Oh, that goes. So yeah, now you gotta start adjusting the springs on the back. Looks like we could still tighten the back springs a bit. Now let's see where we need to split the difference. Because you always need to split the difference. There has never been a person who got it perfect. That's what I like to tell myself. Yeah, but here are going to be the next steps. I will be getting my Mac set up so I can use my plug-in tuners. And from there, we're going to be doing our everything else for the guitar. By the way, what I'm doing, just tuning all them down and up and whatever else, this isn't a special case. This is just the process you go through. I'm sure some people have discovered life hacks and measurements to this, but, you know, every guitar's different. Let's put this little thing in and start stretching our strings. So this is how I like to stretch strings. Grab them, pull them. Obviously don't, use your freaking lumberjack hands and full strength on these, but give them, like, a respectable, like, stretch. You're not trying to break it. You're not trying to be like the next Gary Moore. You're just trying to give them a gentle stretch. As strings stretch on your system over time, you're going to have to make adjustments to the action, to the tension. You're going to be doing a lot of things to it. The guitar isn't just something you, like, tune once and never tune again. Like you gotta take care of your instrument. So a simple test I like to run is I set it down, and I look at the neck at an angle, and I can see that it needs a tighten. So then you open up your truss rod cover, and you find out what key it takes. C major. It's not C major, not that type of key. So here's the thing with these, you really don't want to put your whole family on the line for how you tighten these. This is like a very gentle piece of metal that tightens and loosens to keep your neck straight. Like you don't want to treat it like an arm wrestling competition. You treat it more like a business handshake, like firm and confident. Gotta understand. Where you're saying with your handshake to this person, you don't want to just rip their arm off. You just want to let them know, yeah, I'm classy and I have a strong hand, but you most certainly do not want to rip this hand off. Like there's no standard amounts for how many turns you need to do. It's just keep in mind, like, you gotta be gentle with your instrument. You actively need to try not to break it, because if you don't, things can break. Here's another thing. I usually start with balancing my bridge to where the strings slightly pull it towards the neck, just because over time as the strings stretch, the bridge is going to take over more, and it's going to flatten itself out. No, actually, this like flattened itself out already, so because you don't need to worry about that, because it flattened itself out. But like a week or two into a string change, just, double check that the springs are still on the same tension. Yeah, so now we are on the action stage of our guitar. According to my meters, I'm going to slightly raise the action on the high strings. Now that sounded very out of tune when I was playing on the high strings, but checking the tuner, everything's in tune, so that means our intonation's messed up. So what you want to do for intonation is get all 3 strings in tune. And now double check by doing these fine tunes. So now I'm hitting the 12th fret harmonic. So that's in tune, plus 0 cents, and now I fret it. Minus 1 cent. So what you want to do now is open up your notes app and take measurements of these numbers. Let's call that minus 2 cents. So that means we have to move the string just a bit closer. Now next, I'm going to get this one tuned up. Alright, this one's around minus 8 cents. D is minus 7 cents. Now always be doing intonation in the playing position, because it changes, especially with Floyd's when it's not in playing position. Let's call this one minus 4 cents. So far, nothing needs to be further. Let's call that 10 cents. minus 10 cents. Wow. E, minus 14 cents. Okay, so now that we have these numbers, it is time to essentially detune our whole guitar. So now here's the intonation step. You loosen all your strings. Once again, after you put something to stop your bridge, loosen all your strings, and you're going to be moving the bridge intonation saddles around based on the numbers you have written down. I don't know if there's a hack to getting these numbers, but what I found is you just do it by feel, guess and check, because you will do this tune down and tune up process multiple times. So now that all my strings have loosened, I will start with my high E. It's at minus 14 cents. It needs to be moved forward by guessing I just loosen it, and I might even put the next screw over since it's such a big jump. That's the biggest jump yet. And I'll just put it right on the edge of the very front screw. So for those who didn't catch what I just did due to the camera angle being terrible, I essentially unscrewed our bridge saddle, and I put it over one hole closer to the neck and pickup. Because there are two holes. Typically in Floyd's there are three. So you have one closest to the neck, one in the middle, and one furthest from the neck. So as this one only has two of those holes, I put this highest E string closest to the neck because they needed to be moved by 14 cents closer to the neck. So what we're doing here is we're essentially manually adjusting the scale length. So let me tighten my string back up, just the one, since I'm done with it until further checking. Let's move to our next one. It's 10 cents. I fear we might also just do the exact same thing to this one. Move it over one hole back. Because intonation, it usually takes a lot of patience, to say the least. Because there's, like, no fast way to do this. Like, I guess the only cheat code which you can really add to this process is having a intonation adjustment tool for Floyd's. And here is how you read the whole intonation thing I was talking about. So if, when you play the string, let's say harmonic on the 12th fret, because that's how I usually check my intonation, play it on the 12th fret, it's supposed to be 0. If it isn't, just tune up until it's 0, to use as a reference point. And now that that string is in tune, when you play that note fretted, you gotta record the difference between the fretted and harmonic. And if the fretted note is flat, you gotta move your saddle forward towards the neck. And if the fretted note is sharp, then you gotta move the saddle back. This is just changing your scaling, that's all it's doing. Anyways, as I was saying, let's get back into D standard tuning. So once again, to repeat, if your fretted note is flat, that means you gotta move the saddle towards the neck. And if your fretted note is sharp, it means you gotta move your saddle away from the neck. Now we're doing this whole process again, by the way. So Floyd's, yeah, they really require all your patience. So now that our intonation is good, let's just put everything back on the guitar, starting with the back plate, obviously. That's what I do with all my strings, is I put some electrical tape on them so they make less noise when you play the guitar. Because no matter what, it's gonna sound like a spring reverb when you strike a big chord or hit some big chugs. Obviously I'm exaggerating what it really sounds like, but it is noticeable in the recordings, it is noticeable when you listen to it, so, you know, just put some tape on them. Some people buy silent springs, but I feel like that's just a myth. I feel like just put the tape, don't pay triple price on a brand name. Silent guitars, or silent springs, that's crazy. Some people even put foam in them, I feel like that's a good solution. Just take some DIY work with a sponge or something to get that done. But yeah, there's lots of ways to muffle extra noise on your guitar. Another thing I'd like to mention is, like, when you're like doing these screws or any like screws, just do it gently. I had a Long McQuaid employee 2 years ago strip multiple screws on the back of my guitar and just not tell me. And then I was like, well, what the hell? Like, compensate me with a new guitar that you didn't strip, perhaps. And yeah, just like small brainless things like that, they really make a difference. Like not having multiple screws loose on your back plate, certainly, like, it's just disrespectful using like big old DeWalt, being like, brrm, full force, full diesel on that. But this was a pretty quick setup. Now I'm gonna get to stretching the strings, also known as playing the freaking guitar. Something I tend to forget is that when you're getting ready to put these locking nuts in, you need to remember how much they're gonna tighten your string. And it's easy to underestimate how you tighten them. So what I'd like to do is tighten them gently with the long side, and then just give it a gentle, like, tiny turn, like the tiniest turns. Like literally the most gentle tiny turn. I feel like it is absolutely necessary to repeat multiple times how gentle you need to do with instruments.